In this world, magic gave rise to a bunch of demon dungeons and various demons. Because of this magic, some humans awaken special powers, becoming hunters. These are the Divine Troop, the strongest squad in existence. Leading the team is Bai, the leader who has commanded the squad for 10 years. Their mission is simple: clear the demon dungeons for the highest authority, known as God. The Divine Troop then sets off for their 100th high-level operation. On the team we have Lingyu, the L-class lightning assassin. Lingyu informs the captain that the mission has been designated as an L-class purge operation. Han Xiaoling, the team's cloud mage, jumps into action with his ice magic. They know that L-class is the most intense level, but after this they'll finally get a vacation. Lucian, the support, buffs the crew by increasing gravity and attack speed. A massive energy attack descends from the heavens, causing a gigantic explosion. The entire dungeon trembles with the overwhelming power that sweeps through everything around it. Bai analyzes the attack with a serious look, already planning the next step. He positions himself in the middle of the destruction, ready to finish the job. After all, he is the commander of the Divine Troop, an L-class nuclear saint warrior. With perfect teamwork, the Demon King Belphegor is finally taken out. Ling Yu complains that it was a piece of cake and promises to find more dungeons for the captain to have fun in. Lucian comments that it was a high-level mission that required the entire squad. He then asks Bai if the captain also thought the mission was too easy. Cleaning his sword, Bai says that Demon was special with 5 elements and a hidden skill. Suddenly, Ling Yu approaches, getting her captain's attention for a chat. Coming up from behind, the young woman hugs him and asks if he'll treat the team to a feast. Whispering in his ear, the girl suggests that maybe just the two of them could go out together. Awkwardly, Bai turns his face away from hers, saying they will all go to the usual place together. The young mage then says it was another failed ambush, while Ling Yu smiles, finding it amusing. Bai feels a chill and his expression changes. He realizes something is very wrong. Looking around, the young man asks about the guy who didn't follow them, and they say he was handling the cleanup. The team then comments that this member is always the slowest and the best at skipping out on work. From a distance, a mysterious figure in a hood silently observes the group of heroes. The hooded man generates green energy in his hand while whispering purge operation. Up close we see his face with a bone mask and a very wicked smile. With a simple flick of his finger, the mysterious man gives the order to begin the attack. Unexpectedly, the entire team is hit by an attack from out of nowhere, incapacitating everyone. Bai's face fills with astonishment as he sees the surprise attack on his team. Ling Yu's expression also shows just how shocked she was by the sudden attack. As for the one responsible for the attack, he just watches the scene with a cold, calculating gaze. We see Han Xiaoling on the ground, badly hurt and unable to move. The traitor reveals that this was his true mission, and Bai explodes with rage. The captain tries to react but realizes his body won't move anymore. It's completely paralyzed. The traitor explains that their breakfast for the past month was laced with a paralyzing powder. Next, giant vines begin to sprout from the ground with a sinister green energy. The divine ability called Forbidden Flower manifests, trapping all the heroes. To take down the strongest of them, the masked man needed absolute preparation. The entire team is trapped and Ling Yu asks what he is doing. The hooded man reveals the truth: the L-class purge operation was a trap to finish them off. Desperate, Bai yells out his companions' names as they are relentlessly attacked. The vines then toss the team members into the air as if they were dolls. The leader tries to break free, but the plants tighten their grip, hurting him. His eyes fill with hatred and despair as he watches his team being overwhelmed. Ling Yu appears badly injured and unable to react to the attacks. Trapped by the vines, the world's strongest squad can do absolutely nothing. Bai then screams, asking why they are being eliminated, saying they never made a mistake. He continues to question which god gave this order and by what right they are doing this. Filled with anger, the leader roars, wanting to know why they are doing this to them. The traitor just watches the scene with a terrifying calm, without giving a single answer. The masked man calls Bai hold friend and says he's still very naive. A giant shadow then rushes quickly toward the leader of the divine troop. The attack hits the young man with full force, causing immense damage to his body. The traitor scoffs, asking if God needs a reason to take someone's life. To finish things off, the traitor lands a heavy blow to the captain's chest. Down and injured, Bai asks if they weren't comrades, almost like family. The masked man scoffs at the idea and asks if the leader still doesn't understand why he was chosen. He reveals that since their very first meeting, God was already manipulating everything like a game of chess. With a serious wound in his chest, he hears that they were always just disposable pawns. The man explains that he infiltrated the squad just to gain everyone's trust. He continues, saying that playing that role for so long was extremely exhausting. The traitor confesses that the whole thing also disgusted him, as he watches the hero on the ground. After everything, the masked man turns and walks away, leaving the bodies behind. A message confirms the members have been dealt with and the end of the purge operation. The traitor then floats up, saying it's finally time to take that well-deserved vacation. Suddenly, Bai receives one last fatal blow to his head, leaving him in shock. Even at the end, his hand still clutches one of the vines with a final ounce of strength. In the darkness, a mysterious voice calls to him, wanting to make a deal. Bai wakes up in chains in a strange place and wonders where on earth he is. He then realizes he's completely bound by chains in utter darkness. An elegant figure emerges from the shadows and greets him with a smile. The troop leader is shocked to see who has appeared before him. Bai recognizes Belphegor, the Demon King, who explains he's not so easy to defeat. The demon reveals that this is his sole domain and his life force is the realm itself. Belphegor senses that the young man's hatred is just like his own and calls him to negotiate. He then proposes a transaction, revealing his hidden ability of life regression. The Demon King says he can send him back in time to give him a second chance. With an evil grin on his face, Belphegor then asks if he's interested. The captain remains silent, seeming to ponder the crazy proposal he just received. He then remembers Ling Yu's face and the moments they spent together. His eyes fill with determination as he thinks about his team and the betrayal they suffered. The memory of the young mage Han Xiaoling smiling also crosses his mind. The desire for revenge grows in his heart as the memories haunt him. The image of Lucy and his other companion smiling also appears in his memories. He remembers all his friends together and the bonds they formed. Rage takes over him as he remembers what happened to all of them. The image of the traitor then appears in his mind, shattering all the good memories. The scene of his team's elimination replays in his head, fueling his hatred. With pure hatred in his eyes, Bai screams that he'll take him down, shattering the chains. He also vows to finish the gods who sit on their thrones doing nothing. A satisfied smile appears on the demon's face upon hearing the answer. Belphegor says that answer is enough and decides to give him another gift. The Demon King then offers a strange heart as a welcome present. Bai then questions why the demon would make this deal with him and what the price is. With a dark and sinister smile, Belphegor watches the young man's decision. A distant voice starts calling Bai Yu's name, telling him to wake up. Suddenly, a woman appears yelling for Bai Yu to stand up in a classroom. Bai Yu's eyes widen as he realizes this is for real. He really went back. Looking at his own hands, he begins to understand that it's all true. The boy then realizes he's returned to the time before his first awakening. The teacher scolds him for sleeping right through the ceremony and sends him to the back of the class. Surprised, Bai Yu recognizes her as Teacher Huang from his old school. Shocked, he realizes he's gone back to his middle school days. As he walks, he wonders if he was really reborn because of Belphegor's ability. Looking at his classmates, he finds it unbelievable to see them all there again. Bai Yu thinks that he hadn't seen those faces in almost 20 years. The teacher slams her hand on the desk to get everyone's attention and continue the class. Teacher Huang explains the 5 elemental powers: lightning, flower, cloud, nuclear, and stellar. The boy watches attentively as she says that each person can only have a single element. She continues the lesson, showing her own elemental power as an example. The teacher demonstrates that she possesses the rarest element of all, the cloud element. Depending on the body's affinity, elements are classified as combat, support, and special. The strongest team in the school is made up of a stellar mage, a cloud warrior, a nuclear bard, and a lightning assassin. Teacher Huang tells the students they have already surpassed ordinary people just by awakening their potential. She explains that today is the most important day and that professions are divided into 4 tiers. With an intense look, the teacher warns that each of them will only get one chance. The students get worried upon learning they can only awaken once in their lifetime. During the afternoon, everyone's profession will be decided at the awakening ceremony. This choice will define their status and future forever in this world. Outside, Bai looks at the school building, feeling a great sense of nostalgia. He remembers that it was right there that he first awakened. Unexpectedly, a boy with glasses bumps into him, and the protagonist recognizes him instantly. Right after, a bully arrives to mess with the boy, and Bai Yu's face immediately hardens. The bullies then surround the boy on the ground, calling him useless trash. The group's leader steps on the young man's hand, telling him he shouldn't block his path. He boasts about being a rare red level awakened, and that the others are just insects. Scared, the boy with glasses apologizes and offers the bully money. Bai Yu remembers that in his past life, that guy was always causing trouble. Seeing the scene, he decides to step in to intervene and put an end to the nonsense. Teacher Huang suddenly appears and tells the bully to stop the commotion. With a furious look, she said this is a school, not a robbery scene. The bully tries to defend himself, saying it was the other boy's fault for bumping into them. He continues with his lame excuse to try and fool the teacher. The jerk even says it would be fair to take the money to buy a snack for his friends. Afterwards, the bully threatens the teacher, saying she was only not fired because she's pretty. The bullies then leave, laughing at the situation and leaving the teacher behind. The group leader's look shows how superior he thinks he is to others. Bai Yi takes a step forward and faces the bully with a serious and challenging stare. The bully asks what he's looking at and shoves him to clear the way. As they walk away, they promise to come back later to laugh at the weaker ones. The boy with glasses apologizes to the teacher, but Bai Yi says it wasn't his fault. The young man remembers that Teacher Huang was always tough on the outside but kind on the inside. From a distance, a student shouts that it's the teacher's class's turn for the awakening chamber. She then tells everyone to stay calm during the process so they don't get hurt. Bai Yi remembers that there are 2 methods of awakening in this world. The first is natural awakening, which happens with people like the bully Hong. It usually occurs in people with strong physiques and natural talent during moments of intense emotion. The other type of awakening uses the chamber, which was created by scientists. The chamber is the result of the wisdom of countless scientists to assist in awakening. Inside, emotions and adrenaline are stimulated to the max to force the awakening. Basically, the process artificially forces the awakening of each person's potential. One of the students awakens the profession of mystic school mage with his power. One of the students leaves the chamber overjoyed for getting a blue-tier profession. Bai Yi then thinks that awakening is like life's only reset button. Teacher Huang announces that Bai Yi is the next to enter the awakening chamber. She scolds him to focus and not slack off like he did during class. With a determined look, the young man says he already knows what he needs to do. He remembers that in his past life, he awakened as a dust-tier nuclear warrior. It was only when he reached S rank that he managed to awaken his rarer type. Now, he wonders what profession he'll get, since he should have the nuclear element. Inside the chamber, Bai Yi begins to feel the power around him with a tense look. A drop of sweat runs down his face as he prepares for what's to come. Out of nowhere, an error message appears on the system, leaving everyone stunned. The system then detects all 5 elements in his body, leaving him in shock. He feels an intense heat inside him and wonders what on earth is happening. Right after the Infinite Awakening system activates, changing the game completely. A screen appears saying he can choose any starting class because he has all 5 elements. The system explains he can get a new random class or improve the one he already has. The young man is confused by the idea of elemental accumulation and what it means. He then realizes he can choose his class now and get new ones in the future. This means he can have classes of all tiers and even the special class. The system confirms this but warns that future classes will be acquired randomly. Balfigure appears in his mind, saying he'll give him another little push. Bai Yi then understands what the demon's gift gave him and feels the power flowing. He now possesses the ability of infinite awakenings and can control all 5 elements. The system warns him that after the first choice, the elemental bars will be reset. With a confident smile on his face, the system asks him to choose carefully. Meanwhile, outside, some students wonder why he's taking so long. Finally, the chamber door opens and Bai Yi walks out calmly. Teacher Huang rushes to him, curious, and asks what class he awakened. With a somewhat sad look, the boy says that unfortunately, he's going to disappoint everyone. Bai Yi reveals that he awakened as a nuclear warrior, the worst possible quality, green. The teacher is visibly disappointed with her student's result, but she tries to cheer him up, telling him not to give up, as many have managed to stand out anyway. The young man says she doesn't need to comfort him, and the teacher thinks he's devastated. She then suggests he go rest for a bit, as the awakening was very tiring. On the inside, however, Bai Yi finds the whole situation hilarious and holds back his laughter. The bully Hong, watching from afar, makes fun of the teacher for her toxic positivity. The young man's expression turns serious as he hears the school bully's words. The teacher notices the provocation and glares at him with a less than friendly expression. The bully then says that reality isn't a fairy tale like she's painting it to be. He explains that having a dust rank quality means being at the bottom of the barrel forever. Hong continues, saying that the gods choose the strong and the weak are made to be humiliated. Hearing the word gods ignites a flame of pure rage in Bai Yi's eyes. The bully explains that dust rankers must sit at the back of the classroom. With cold expressions, Teacher Huang and Bai Yi listen to the bully's words. He continues, saying this is society and that the weak have no future at all. The strong receive better resources and get stronger, while the weak are forgotten. The bully scoffs at the idea of changing one's life through hard work, calling it nonsense. Teacher Huang agrees that the academy is a reflection of how society works. Hong says that since she's a low rank, she can only be a useless worker, and that dust rankers should just go home so they don't waste government resources. Tired of hearing so much nonsense, Bai Yi snatches the cup from the bully's hand. He then rubs the cup in the bully's face, leaving the guy completely surprised. The liquid drips down Hong's face as he stands there stunned. Annoyed, the bully asks what he's doing now, all covered in the drink. With a serious look, Bai Yi says he doesn't like hearing the garbage he's spouting. The bully starts laughing maniacally and prepares to attack the boy. Hong creates a purple energy in his hand and launches a direct attack at Bai Yi. The teacher tries to intervene, but it's too late to stop the bully's attack. He uses his basic stellar assassin attack to boost his power. Our hero, however, isn't intimidated and prepares a quick counter-attack. Bai Yi summons a golden light in his hand and easily blocks the bully's strike. The bully is shocked to see his attack defended so easily. He doesn't understand how a simple low-level awaken pulled off such a feat. Bai Yi not only blocked it but also landed a powerful counter-attack on the bully. With his eyes glowing gold, he shows he's not messing around. The counter-attack sends Hong flying with impressive force. Everyone around is shocked to see the bully defeated so easily. Hong spits out a bit of blood, completely surprised by what happened. He's speechless, realizing he was outmatched by someone he considered trash. With a sword of light in hand, our hero appears confident and powerful. He wonders what just happened and how he managed to do that. The bully's friends are also confused about how he managed to counter the blow. Bai Yi reveals that he chose this class, and so it comes with a sword of light. With a confident smile, he says just used to this kind of fight. Hong doesn't believe it and says it was just luck that he dodged once. He then boasts about being a rare abyss, rank and completely different from our hero. Teacher Huang, however, realizes that wasn't luck and is intrigued. She realizes he used a high-level movement skill exclusive to the warrior class. The parry is an ability that blocks damage at the exact moment of the strongest attack. If used correctly, the technique reflects all physical damage back to the opponent. The teacher is stunned, as even she couldn't master that technique after years of practice. She wonders how someone with no combat experience managed to do it perfectly. Hong picks up a sword and asks if Bai Yi is prepared to be taken down. He shouts that he's gonna make the guy grovel in front of everyone as punishment. Our hero, however, says he had his reasons for choosing the weakest class. He remembers his past life and how he fought to become stronger. Bai Yi gives a confident smile and says that judging someone's future by their birth is the biggest mistake. An explanation of the block and parry abilities appears for the reader. Everyone around wonders if they're really gonna fight there in the middle of the school. The other students are worried, as using powers in fights is strictly forbidden. Hong's father is a high-ranking official, and his uncle is the school principal. The boy with glasses is terrified and asks the teacher what they should do. Teacher Huang also doesn't know how to act in that complicated situation. She then tries to calm things down, saying they could all be comrades in the future. The bully doesn't accept it and says he won't let our hero get away with it. He vows to show everyone the difference between a chosen one and a loser. With a look full of hatred, Hong says the difference between them is an abyss. The teacher thinks that the difference in qualities lies in the attribute bonuses. The dust rank has a 100% bonus, which in practice doesn't change anything. A rank of the same profession has a 150% bonus. Hong, as an abyss rank, has a 200% bonus to his attributes. This means his attributes are doubled out of a dust rank at the moment of awakening. The boy with glasses thinks that Bai Yi is completely done for in this fight. He wonders why the guy provokes someone so much more powerful than him. To survive in this society, you have to learn to avoid the stronger ones. And when you can't avoid them, you have to learn to swallow the humiliation. The boy thinks that direct confrontation is the most foolish choice to make. He believes the only thing awaiting those who confront the strong is more humiliation. Hong activates his ferocity skill to increase his attack power. Teacher Huang yells for Bai Yi to watch out for the incoming attack. She thinks he won't be able to block the strike, as the bully's power is too high. With a wicked smile, Hong says he wants to see our hero dodge that blow. But Bai Yi, with a confident smile, says he doesn't need to dodge anything. He activates his swiftness ability, increasing his speed by 50%. With proficiency at 100%, he activates instant flash and dodges the attack. The bully is shocked to see the guy appear behind him in the blink of an eye. He can't believe the boy managed to move so fast. Bai Yi then strikes with a quick and precise blow, catching the bully by surprise. Hong falls to the ground defeated and spits blood, not understanding what happened. With a cold look, the young man says that trash belongs in the trash can. The people around can't understand and think the bully fell on his own. The teacher and the other students are confused, as they also didn't see what happened. Chi Yin, the girl with pink hair, watches the scene with a curious and intrigued look. She realizes he activated the unique warrior ability, Swiftness, at the moment of the attack, and that he used the advanced form of the ability, Instant Flash, to dodge. Chi Yin wonders how he managed to injure his opponent in a single move. The class president realizes he not only mastered the ability but also applied it perfectly in combat. He even made sure not to break the school rules in public. A notification appears showing he gained experience and elemental points. Bai Yi then realizes he needs to start clearing labyrinths as soon as possible. The bully gets up and says he won't let him get away with that fight. He picks up his sword from the ground and prepares to attack our hero again. With a furious look, Hong vows to finish the guy right there. Our hero, however, seems calm and says that's enough for today. Suddenly, the academy's principal appears and asks if he hasn't embarrassed himself enough. The bully recognizes him as his uncle and freezes upon seeing him there. The principal tells everyone to go home and rest, as it's the weekend. He tells everyone to tell their families about the professions they awakened. The word home triggers an important memory for Bai Yi from his life. With a serious look, the principal stares at him and approaches to speak with him. The principal then scolds him for causing trouble and puts a hand on his shoulder. He realizes that by going back 20 years in time, all the people he lost are still alive. He then remembers something very important that he had completely forgotten. Without a second thought, Bai Yi runs off, leaving the teacher and the principal in his dust. Teacher Huang and the principal are left confused by the boy's sudden action. Annoyed, the principal tells her to control her student better and that he'll forget the matter. The teacher bows and apologizes for the trouble her student caused. In the principal's office, Hong complains that he was defeated by luck, not skill. He can't accept that he lost to someone he considered trash. The principal then says he's talking nonsense and that it wasn't luck. He asks if his nephew has any idea what the guy did to him at that moment. The principal explains that Bai Yi used the high-level ability, Instant Flash, and that before attacking, he found the weakest point in his defense and broke through it. The principal says that not even he, with 15 years of experience, could execute that perfectly. He compares the fight to a professional player facing an amateur with basic controls. Meanwhile, Bai Yi runs through the city streets with a goal in mind. He thinks that, besides revenge, there is something much more urgent he needs to do. Arriving in front of a building, he stops and takes a deep breath before going in. He remembers a tragedy that happened in his past life in that place. A painful memory of seeing his family in danger returns to his mind. He knows that something terrible is going to happen there, and he must prevent it at all costs. With determination in his eyes, he vows to stop it even if it costs him his life. A screen shows our hero's stats as a level 1 nuclear warrior. Another screen shows Hong's stats as a stellar assassin with a 200% bonus. At home, Baiyi's father is watching a comedy show on television. He laughs out loud, finding the comedian's joke extremely funny. In the kitchen, the young man's mother is washing dishes with a calm expression. Our hero watches his mother through the window before entering the house. Upon entering, his father greets him and asks why he came back so early. With a serious expression, the young man just remains silent, observing his parents. He looks at his mother through the kitchen window, with a mix of emotions. With tears in his eyes, Baiyi whispers the word, "Mom," overflowing with longing. His mother sees him and smiles, relieved that he's alive and well. She then approaches and begins to communicate with him through sign language. With a gentle smile, she says she's prepared his favorite dish for dinner. Our hero is silent for a moment before responding to his mother's gesture. Baiyi smiles and signs that today he wants to eat pickled fish instead of noodles. The mother signs back that maybe tomorrow, as she has already prepared the noodles. The young man insists, saying he really wants to eat the fish that day. With a gesture of surrender, the mother agrees to prepare the dish he asked for. She then turns to leave and buy the ingredients for dinner. The father then says the mother can go alone and that he doesn't need to accompany her. The father asks what's wrong with him and why he didn't greet him when he arrived. He approaches his son and asks if today isn't his awakening day. With an eager smile, he tells his son to share the good news quickly. The father grabs 2 bottles of a beverage from the fridge to celebrate his son's awakening. He reveals that he finished work early just to celebrate with him at home. Baiyi, with a serious expression, lies that he couldn't awaken that day. He says the process took too long and he couldn't participate in time. The father becomes furious and says the neighbor's son awakened as a brilliant rank. With his eyes closed, the young man just listens to his father's harsh words. He says his son should be at least an abyss, rank like he was. The father approaches and says he worked hard to raise him and gave him his all. The father, with a menacing look, demands to know what class his son awakened. A red aura surrounds the man as he pressures his son for an answer. The young man hesitates to answer, afraid of his father's reaction. Out of patience, the father smashes the bottles on his son's head in anger. Baiyi then reveals he awakened as a dust rank, which enrages his father. The father yells, asking if he's trying to dishonor him with such a low rank. Baiyi thinks that his father is not only awakened but also an extremely violent man. He remembers how his father was always aggressive and could never control his emotions. He then recalls what happened on the day of his awakening in his past life. In his past life, his father was ashamed of the result and started a horrible fight at home. As always, his mother stood in front to protect her son from his father's fury. Back then, he was too weak and scared to do anything. The father then took out all his anger on the mother for a full hour. That day, his mother's leg was broken, and she became mentally unstable. Desperate, the young man cried, unable to do anything to help his mother. Back in the present, the father continues to assault his son without mercy. Baiyi thinks that he chose the nuclear warrior class for its special characteristics. The father then tells him to get up from the floor to continue the fight. Baiyi remembers that his father is a C-class electric warrior and an abyss rank. Unlike the school bully, his father has a lot of real combat experience. The young man realizes there's no way he can beat his father at that moment. The father yells that he should have never let his mother give birth to a useless person like him. Baiyi understands he can't let his mother be nearby, as his father won't stop. At least, he managed to get his mother out of the house before the fight started. Unexpectedly, the mother returns and the shopping bags fall to the floor. Baiyi is in total shock to see his mother back so soon. The mother appears at the door and sees the violent scene happening in front of her. He wonders why she came back so quickly, and if it was to feed him. The mother couldn't bear the thought of leaving him hungry and rushed back home. The mother is terrified to see her husband approaching her in a rage. The father says with contempt that he's going to see what kind of trash she brought into the world. A screen once again shows Baiyi's stats as a level 1 nuclear warrior. Another screen shows the father's stats as a C-class electric warrior. In a prison, someone says he was first to advance his profession with a green level. A man asks why he advanced so early in his journey as an awakened. He also mentions that the young man transformed directly into a platinum level. In a prison cell, a man asks why Baiyi was imprisoned there. The young man replies that the man he took out deserved that fate. He remembers how his father brutally finished off his mother. With eyes full of hatred, the young man can't believe what happened. The father glares at the mother with a furious look and prepares to attack her. The father strikes her with a brutal blow, throwing her against the wall with full force. Even without using abilities, an awakened person is much stronger than an ordinary person. A normal person couldn't withstand a punch as powerful as that one. The mother screams in pain as she's hit, and the young man becomes desperate. The young man lies bloodied on the floor while his mother tries to protect him. The father locks the door and approaches with a deadly and terrifying look. He says he was happy to learn he was having a son with his wife. He thought the chance for the Bai family to rise again had finally come. He says his brothers can't have children, but he can. He yells that the Bai family still depends on him to bring glory to their ancestors. The mother is terrified and wonders why her son awakened with such a weak profession. The father can't accept that his son awakened with the most useless profession of all. He blames the mother's genes for the result and attacks her with a chair. The mother is hit squarely by the blow and falls to the ground in pain. A screen explains the instant flash ability and its effects again. Bai uses his instant flash ability to get between his father and mother. He moves quickly and blocks his father's next attack with his sword. With a determined look, he tells his father not to touch his mother. The father is surprised but finds his son's attitude of protecting her interesting. The mother is scared and tries to communicate with her son through signs. The father says his son has grown up and that it's very good, with a wicked smile. The house is a mess as the fight between father and son unfolds. Our hero knows he needs to block his father's attacks first before striking back. He prepares to defend against his father's next blow with his sword of light. Using the parry ability, Bai tries to block the attack and reflect the damage. However, his father's attack breaks through the young man's defense and hits him hard. The power difference between them is too great to be easily overcome. The young man feels his ribs ache and realizes the fight will be tough. Hit in the chest, the young man is seriously injured by his father's attack. The father activates his black lightning ability to increase his speed and power. He hits his son with a devastating blow to the head, leaving him stunned. With a wicked smile, the father asks if his son isn't being a bit too impatient. The young man decides not to dodge and takes his father's attack head-on with courage. The father mocks his son's courage and says he deserves to be finished for being weak. With a determined look, Bai vows that no tragedy will repeat itself. The father grabs a chair and asks if he thinks he's all that just because he awakened. He prepares to attack his son and wife with the chair in a rage. Suddenly, someone starts banging on the door forcefully and shouts for them to open up. The father is annoyed at being interrupted, and the mother hugs her son to protect him. Our hero knows that the people he was waiting for have finally arrived to help. The father opens the door furiously and asks who's knocking so hard. Two police inspectors appear and ask why no one was opening the door. The father is surprised to see the deputy captain of the inspectorate in his house. The officers say they received a tip about a wanted criminal hiding in the building. They show a wanted poster with the face of a hooded man. The father laughs and says if he saw that person on TV, he would definitely report it. The mother cleans her son's face while the father tries to cover up the situation. The officer then asks how his son is doing, suspicious of the scene. The father says his son was clumsy and fell while going shopping. Bai interrupts his father and says that's not what happened at all. The father is shocked to hear his own son's accusation in front of the officers. A screen explains the concept of advancement, a second awakening to increase power. We see that 18 minutes earlier, the young man called the police to report the criminal. He knew the security team would go after the criminal with full force. The father denies the accusation and says he would never lay a hand on his own son. Bai then shows his injuries and says a doctor can evaluate them. The officer remains silent, observing the scene and suspecting the father. Bai then cites the law that allows the detention of awakened who use their powers for domestic violence. The officers are surprised to hear the boy cite the law with such precision. The father realizes he's been tricked and becomes furious with his son's plan. The inspector then places the father under arrest for his violent behavior. The father resists arrest and shouts at his son as he's taken away by the officers. He vows to get revenge on his son as soon as he gets out of jail. The mother watches the scene, frightened and not understanding what's happening. The young man turns to his mother with a bloodied face and tries to calm her down. The mother hugs him worriedly, and he says that everything is okay now. Bai thinks that he managed to protect his mother and now has exactly 15 days to act. He promises it will be the last time and that he'll have enough time to get stronger. He thinks he won't take a beating for nothing and needs to take advantage of the situation. In the midst of the confusion, he managed to grab the key to his father's safe without anyone seeing. With the key in hand, he knows he can change his destiny and become stronger. He remembers that it was with the contents of that safe that his father ranked up. Bai then goes to his father's room to find the secret safe. The father hides the safe in a secret place, even from his own family. He uses the key to open the safe and take what's inside. In his past life, he only discovered the existence of the safe after his father's passing. With the item from the safe in hand, he believes he can try to face the demon dungeon alone. He knows that demon dungeons are the only way to improve his profession. Now with a new weapon and more confidence, Bai heads to a hidden demon dungeon that only he knew about. He prepares to enter the dungeon and face the dangers that await him. With a determined look, he vows to be the fastest to surpass everyone. A screen explains what demon dungeons are and the profession tiers. In the detention room, the officers comment that the criminal alert was a false alarm. The father is in custody and watches the officers discussing the case. They think that if the criminal were in the city, it would be a big problem. The officers discuss the captain's return and its implications for the team. In the cell, the father begs for clemency, lying that it was the first time and won't happen again. He tries to bribe the officer by mentioning the birth of the deputy leader's child. The officer scolds the father for trying to bribe him and reminds him of his past in the guild. He asks if the father has any idea how he ended up in this situation today. The father is speechless and can't answer the officer's question. The other officer warns that if the bribe is discovered, the penalty will be even greater. The officer closes the cell and tells him to calm down for a while. Angrily, the father thinks of his son and vows revenge when he gets out of jail. With his mother sleeping safely, Bai knows he needs to get much stronger in just 15 days. He realizes that demon dungeons are his only option to get stronger. The dungeons are parallel spaces that appear anywhere and are accessed through portals. Most dungeons are guarded by guilds of awakened who control access. They contain demonic beasts and valuable or resources for the awakened. But the dungeons are dangerous and require a team to enter safely. He remembers that in his past life, he learned of a dungeon that was only discovered 5 years later. An F-rank dungeon usually requires 3 E-rank awakened to be completed. An E-rank dungeon needs a team of 5 with 3 E-rank and 2 D-rank members. Based on his estimates, he believes the dungeon has a 90% chance of being F-rank. Bai enters the secret dungeon, the lowest level he can handle right now. Inside the dungeon, he feels a strange energy and prepares for what's to come. He knows the place is dangerous, but he has no other choice at the moment. Determined, he knows he needs to level up as fast as possible, and he'll have to do it alone. As soon as he enters the dungeon, Bai checks his stats, now as an E-rank core warrior. The place is all ice and snow. He figures it's the perfect territory for cloud element magic beasts. Walking through the dungeon, he observes the icy environment, preparing for battle. He finds a giant beast hibernating and several skeletons of others who weren't so lucky. The young man recognizes the creature as a hibernating EB, rank Icefield Bear. Out of nowhere, a giant paw strikes at the young man, who dodges the blow by a hair's breadth. He realizes the dungeon is E-rank and that there was a 10% chance of finding one of these. Bai wonders if the dungeon wasn't discovered sooner, precisely because of these hibernating creatures. An E-rank bloodthirsty forest wolf emerges and lunges at him with everything it's got. The wolf charges forward quickly, and the young man readies himself for combat with his weapon in hand. He leaps over the wolf and prepares to strike the creature with his blade. With a precise blow, he tries to hit the wolf, but the creature is very agile. The wolf jumps to attack him with his sharp claws and teeth, without a moment's hesitation. With a furious glare, the creature prepares to devour our hero. The young man dodges the wolf's attack and prepares to counter with his sword. With a swift move, he lands a fatal blow on the wolf and defeats it. The wolf body falls to the ground and Bai backs away, already preparing for the next one. That blade he took from his father's safe is A rank and gives his attributes a nice boost. He starts to miss the days when he was L rank and much more powerful. By defeating the wolf, he gains experience and cloud elemental points. Suddenly, he hears a snarl and turns to see what's happening. An entire pack of bloodthirsty forest wolves appears and surrounds him. Bai realizes the scent of blood has attracted all the wolves in the area. With a serious look, he wonders if the wolves will attack him all at once. The wolves attack with their sharp claws and teeth, giving no chance to defend. With a critical hit, he strikes a wolf's vital point and takes it down. He dodges another wolf's attack and immediately prepares for the counter-attack. With a quick move, he attacks the other wolf and defeats it with a precise strike. Bai continues to fight the pack, dodging and counter-attacking with precision. With one last blow, he prepares to finish the fight against the wolves. He spins his blade and attacks the remaining wolves with a powerful strike. The attack hits all the wolves at the same time, defeating them all at once. After defeating the pack, he realizes he still has the Wolf King to face. The Wolf King appears and attacks him with impressive speed and strength. With a swift blow, the young man hits the Wolf King and defeats it. By defeating the king, he gains experience in a rare item, the Snow Wolf Diamond. With that, he finally manages to rank up and become a D rank. A notification shows that he leveled up and gained 12 attribute points. He continues to level up and gains more points to distribute to his stats. Even after taking down only 20 wolves, he already feels exhausted from the battle. Bai realizes he needs a dimensional backpack to carry more items. The Snow Wolf Diamond is a rare and very valuable item on the market. To access high-level dungeons, he needs to join a guild team. The dream of most students is to be recruited by a guild after graduation. He remembers his father who got stuck at C rank after being kicked off a team. Bai knows that going alone is slow, and the dungeon's cold drains his stamina very quickly. Seeing a new pack of wolves, he gets an idea to speed up the process. He runs towards the forest, luring the wolves to follow him. With his blade, he cuts down some trees to create a trap. The wolves follow the trail and fall into the trap he prepared. He continues to lure more creatures into his forest trap. A giant snake and other creatures are drawn by the noise and the bait. The wolves and other creatures join the chase without noticing the trap. With a quick step, he springs the trap and moves away from the danger. Bai watches from a distance as his strategy works perfectly. All the creatures in the area are drawn to the same spot because of the noise. A large explosion occurs and defeats all the creatures at once. He knows the noise must have also awakened the hibernating creature. The ice creature shatters, revealing what was inside. The ice bear awakens from the noise and prepares to attack. The ice bear enters a state of fury and readies itself for an attack. It attacks anything that moves and destroys the creatures around it. Our hero takes advantage of the chaos to defeat the creatures and gain experience. Bai knows he just needs to dodge the attacks and wait for the right opportunity. With his blade, he defeats the creatures one by one and collects the items. The bear helps him conserve stamina, and he levels up quickly. He approaches a giant snake and prepares for the final attack. To get the experience, he needs to land the final blow on the creature. The remaining creatures prepare to attack our hero as a group. Even with the bear's help, he feels exhausted from the long battle. He prepares for the next phase of his plan with his sword in hand. Bai knows the terrain's capacity is at its limit after so much destruction. With a worried look, he watches the ice begin to crack beneath his feet. The creatures' bodies fall into the abyss as the ice shatters. The bear and the other creatures also fall into the abyss as the ice breaks. With a powerful blow, he shatters the ice and defeats the remaining creatures. He realizes the terrain is an ice bridge between two cliffs. The ice bridge shatters, and all the creatures fall into the abyss. He manages to escape just in time and watches the creatures fall to their doom. Bai levels up again and collects items from the defeated creatures. He knows that most of the creatures were defeated with his strategy. Now, he just needs to deal with the survivors with the stamina he has left. He unlocks a new title that increases his stats by 10%. Bai remembers that every demon dungeon has a final boss to be defeated. He wonders why the dungeon boss hasn't appeared for the battle yet. The ice bear and the remaining wolves surround him and prepare to attack. The bear roars and charges ferociously at our hero. He realizes the creature is using an ice spell to attack him. Bai realizes he was wrong and that the creature is not what it seems. A blue light hits him, and he is shocked by the power of the attack. He narrowly dodges the attack and realizes the true nature of the enemy. The creature was waiting for the perfect moment to strike when he was exhausted. The ice bear freezes the environment to trap the young man and his enemies. With the young man trapped, the bear prepares for the final, merciless attack. The bear attacks with its ice claws, and the young man is cornered. He is shocked to see the power of the attack and tries to protect himself. Bai realizes that the ice bridge was part of the dungeon boss's trap. The boss just needed to show up at the end to collect all the rewards. He realized there's something hidden in this low-level dungeon. The true boss of the dungeon appears and prepares for the final confrontation. The dungeon boss is a level 10 Cloud Elemental Battle Demon. With a wicked smile, the boss prepares for the final battle against the young man. Our hero is frozen and realizes he's in a tough situation. A screen shows the boss's information, a high-risk elemental spell demon. In the hidden dungeon, the boss and its minions observe the frozen young man. Bai knows that if he stays frozen for too long, he'll perish from hypothermia. The boss's minions advance to attack the young man while he's vulnerable. The boss commands its minions and prepares for the final attack. He realizes he has no choice but to use his ability to escape. With a determined look, he focuses on breaking the ice that traps him. The boss's minions surround him, ready for the final attack. With a burst of energy, he shatters the ice and frees himself from the trap. The boss is surprised to see that the young man managed to escape its spell. Using the parry ability, he manages to dodge the attacks and counter-attack. Bai used all his energy to break the ice and was left with little stamina. He knows the boss needs time to cast another spell of that magnitude. With a determined look, he vows to defeat the boss before that happens. The boss casts an ice spell to try and trap the young man again. The spell hits the minions and the environment freezes once more. With a bloodied face, he prepares for the final confrontation against the boss. The unstable ice bear is an E-rank Cloud Elemental Magic Beast. Bai knows that the core element is naturally neutralized by the Cloud element. With his current stamina, he could barely defeat the two monkeys. If more creatures appear, his chances of survival will be 0. The boss's minions attack him with their sharp claws and teeth. He knows that if he can't defeat them quickly, he'll be in trouble. Bai fights with all his strength to defend himself from the minions' attacks. The creatures attack him as a group, giving no chance for rest or defense. He dodges and counter-attacks with his blade, but the fight is tough. The young man realizes he's running out of strength to continue the battle. The ice bear advances to attack him with its sharp ice claws. With a determined look, he prepares for the bear's final attack. The bear strikes with a powerful blow, and the young man narrowly tries to dodge it. He uses his blade to defend against the attack and tries to survive. Determined, Bai prepares for the final showdown. He realizes the cold is rapidly draining his stamina. The dungeon boss laughs with a wicked look and prepares a new spell. The demon unleashes an ice storm to attack the young man with full force. Bai is shocked by the speed of the boss's ability cooldown. With a worried look, he prepares to face the boss's spell. With a focused gaze, Bai prepares to face the dungeon boss. He remembers facing much worse situations in his past life. Bai knows that if he stays and fights, his chances of survival are 0. With his eyes gleaming, he realizes he needs a new strategy. He runs towards the abyss and jumps without a moment's hesitation. The boss and its minions watch him leap to what seems like certain doom. Bai uses the ice to shield himself from the fall and the enemy's attacks. The young man is frozen in mid-air as he falls into the dark abyss. The boss is surprised to see that he used the ice to his advantage. The minions watch the scene, not understanding the young man's strategy. He continues to fall into the frozen abyss and braces for impact. With a determined look, he focuses on surviving the fall. Bai uses the ice to cushion the fall and lands safely at the bottom of the abyss. The sound of the bedroom door opening wakes the young man's mother. She wonders why he's sleeping in so late on a weekend. The mother is surprised to not find her son in his room. She finds a note on the bed and picks it up to read. In the note, he says he went to a friend's house and won't be back late. The mother realizes something is wrong, as he would have told her in person. With a worried look, she wonders what is happening with her son. She realizes he's been acting strangely since he came home. At the bottom of the abyss, the young man finds himself in a frozen and injured river. He remembers that almost 100 creatures fell with the collapse of the ice bridge. With a frozen hand, he coughs and tries to recover from the fall and the battle. Bai leveled up 3 times, but it wasn't enough to defeat everyone. He realizes that only about 60 creatures were eliminated in the fall. This means about 40 beasts survived and are at the bottom of the cliff. He knows that at the bottom of the cliff, there must be a river to cushion the fall. With a determined look, he prepares for the next phase of his plan. Bai knows his only chance of survival is to use the second option, but breaking the ice again has exhausted almost all of his stamina and energy. He is weakened, bleeding, and suffering from hypothermia, which pushes him to the limit. With ragged breaths, he knows he's almost at the end of his strength. Bai is in a critical state with hypothermia, bleeding, and extreme weakness. A saber-toothed creature approaches him, ready for the final attack. The sovereign of the glacier, an E-rank cloud elemental beast, appears. He faints and starts having visions of his friends and teammates. Bai remembers his friends calling him to go for a drink and have fun. He sees his teammate Lingyu asking for a hug with a smile on her face. He also remembers the young mage Hanjialing calling him to eat together. He remembers his friend Lucian calling him for help with some data. Bai sees his mother asking if the wound on his head hurts a lot. A bright light envelopes him, and he wakes from his visions. The dungeon boss prepares for the final attack with a wicked smile. He remembers his enemies, sending him to the underworld with contempt. The traitor from his team also appears in his memories, threatening him. Bai remembers all his enemies saying it was the end for him. With a determined look, he vows to have no more limits in his life. He remembers all the regrets from his past life with anger. Bai attacks the creature with his blade with all his strength and determination. The creature is surprised by the young man's sudden strength and tries to defend itself. With a look full of hatred, he vows not to let the tragedies repeat themselves. Bai knows he has already lost everything once and won't let it happen again. He remembers having been finished once, and that fills him with determination. Bai charges forward to attack the creature with a powerful and decisive blow. With a battle cry, he attacks the creature with all his might. The attack hits the creature squarely and defeats it with a fatal blow. He collapses to the ground, exhausted but victorious after the long and difficult battle. With a smile on his face, he recovers from the fight and prepares for the future. Bai knows that only a desperate situation can force a class advancement. He prepares to face the creature with his blade and a golden aura. Bai knows that all his actions were calculated to reach this moment. The remaining creatures surround him, ready for the final attack. The horde of creatures watches him with hunger and ferocity in their eyes. He put himself in desperate situations to recover an old feeling. Bai experienced extreme desperation and maximum adrenaline to trigger the advancement. With his eyes glowing gold, he feels the adrenaline rush through his body. The feeling of power returns and he prepares for the class advancement. A system failure prevents the class advancement, but he learns a new skill. He manages to acquire a supreme skill ahead of time and prepares to use it. With his new skill, he prepares to clear the dungeon once and for all. A screen shows that he has learned the advanced skill of a sacred swordsman. With a determined look, he prepares to face the remaining creatures. The creature roars and charges to attack him with its sharp claws. He activates his new skill called Sanctuary to protect himself from the attacks. The creature attacks him fiercely, but the skill shields him from the damage. Bai uses the Sanctuary to attack and defeat all the creatures at once. With a cold and determined look, he watches the creatures being defeated. He defeats all the remaining creatures and gains a large amount of experience. With the defeat of the Glacier Sovereign, he completes the dungeon and gains more experience. A golden energy flows through his hand as he feels the power of his new skill. After the battle, he levels up, gaining 12 attribute points and several rare items. With a determined look, the young man earns a new title that makes him more resistant to ice. A screen then confirms that he has learned the supreme skill called Sanctuary. Looking up, the young man vows to return to finish off the boss of that dungeon. His stats show that he is a CE class nuclear warrior with a large strength bonus. His AE rank blade greatly increases his attributes, giving him more strength, luck, and stamina. A notification confirms the forest wolf defeat and the experience he gained. Several defeated wolves lie on the ground, and he continues to gain experience with each one. The boy levels up to level 9 and gains 12 more attribute points to distribute. He realizes it's now much easier to defeat the monsters and barely feels the cold of the place. The young man explains that his new skill accumulates damage and releases it all at once on enemies. Additionally, the skill has restored all his stamina and cleared the fatigue from his body. Climbing out of the abyss, he thinks he needs to get back soon so his mother won't worry. From a distance, he spots a small house on top of the ice mountain and heads towards it. Inside the place, several skulls are hanging while a figure waits for him in the back. The figure reveals itself to be a monkey demon with a long white beard and a wise look. The demon then opens its red eye, seeming to sense our hero's presence there. Without hesitation, the dungeon boss launches a powerful ice attack towards the young man. The young man reaches level 10 and tells the demon that they meet again. On May 23rd, the young man's mother looks out the window, worried about his disappearance. She wonders why her son hasn't come home yet as dinner gets cold on the table. The woman has prepared a feast for her son and can only hope that he is okay. Back in the dungeon, the monkey demon seems surprised by our hero's audacity. Without wasting time, the dungeon boss launches another powerful ice attack in his direction. One of its minions, a smaller monkey demon, appears to help in the battle against the intruder. The creature steps on the body of the defeated ice bear, showing its strength and dominance. The great ice bear that was once a threat is now on the ground, completely defeated. Soon after, several other monkey demons appear and surround our hero in the dungeon. With a confident look, Bai says they meet again, ready for a rematch. He stands over the body of the giant bear, surrounded by all the creatures he has defeated. The dungeon boss just watches its minions close in to attack the young warrior. With a grunt, the demon seems to give the order for its minions to attack without mercy. Our hero then charges forward and cuts down one of the minions with a swift and precise blow to its chest. Another monkey demon leaps towards him fiercely, trying to catch him by surprise. With his eyes glowing gold, he prepares for combat with total concentration. Bai uses his sword to block the demon's attack, creating a green energy effect. With a precise strike, he defeats another forest demon and gains 70 experience points. Seeing its minions being defeated, the dungeon boss finally stands up, annoyed. A blue energy surrounds it as it leaps to attack our hero with all its power. The dungeon boss launches its strongest attack, a devastating ice storm. Thanks to his resistance, the young man is completely immune to the demon's ice attack. The system announces that the damage was mitigated, and he jumps to counter-attack the boss. Surprised, the monkey demon doesn't understand how the young man managed to escape its blow. Next, the boss creates an ice crystal with a strange pink energy in the middle. With its minions around, the demon prepares to use the crystal against our hero. With a look full of determination, the young man says he will finish the boss once and for all. He then activates the instant flash ability to get past the minions and reach the boss. With a swift and precise move, the boy manages to sever the monkey demon's arm. The boss screams in pain and is shocked to see it has been severely wounded by the attack. As the demon retreats in agony, the young man is already preparing for his next move. The boss's face contorts in pain and surprise as it realizes the power of its opponent. With a cold look, our hero watches the scene without showing any emotion. Preparing for the final blow, the young man coldly bids farewell to the dungeon boss. He then unleashes a final attack with several blades of light that strike the demon. A notification confirms the boss's defeat and a gain of 1,000 experience points. Then, another message appears saying he has advanced to the D class of Nuclear Warrior. His attributes now receive a larger bonus, and he gains 12 points to distribute. Suddenly, he feels a change in his body, and his intellect permanently increases. The system announces that the cloud element has been accumulated, and a new profession will awaken. Surprised, the young man realizes he completely forgot about elemental accumulation. A strange aura surrounds him as the system announces he has obtained a new profession. The notification reveals that he is now a cloud element mage and can switch classes. His jaw drops when he sees that the new profession is red rank, with a 200% bonus. On the ground, he finds a mage's weapon and a magic pouch that can hold up to 20 items. The remaining monkey demons are confused as they see the young man picking up items from the ground. He then equips his new mage weapon and the magic pouch, preparing for the next fight. With a wick smile at a red aura, he prepares to test his new profession. Bai says there are still some enemies left for him to try out his new powers. The system then confirms that he has successfully switched to Cloud Element Mage mode. With his new weapon in hand, he is eager to test the profession he has never used before. The next morning at 5 o'clock, the young man's mother is still waiting for him, asleep on the sofa. She spent the whole night awake and worried about her son's disappearance. Arriving home, the young man sees her sleeping and hides so as not to wake her suddenly. The sound at the door makes the mother wake up with tears in her eyes, relieved that he is back. She quickly gets up upon realizing her son has finally come home safe and sound. With a bag in hand, he apologizes to his mother for making her wait for so long. Without a second thought, the mother runs to hug her son in a moment of pure relief and emotion. Crying, she asks if he was waiting for her the whole time without even eating. With a gentle smile, he says he has a proposal to make and asks if she wants to hear it. Using his magic pouch, he shows her the most valuable items he managed to get from the dungeon. On the street, he finds a man in a suit to try and sell all his rare items. The man offers 800 for a crystal, but the young man asks for 8,000 on the spot. The buyer is shocked by the price, and the two begin to negotiate the values. The young man then leaves with a bag of money, satisfied with the good deal he made. Counting the money, he thinks that now he can finally rent a nice place for his mother. The mother is surprised to see the new apartment her son got for her. He thinks that in this life, he just wants his mother to be able to enjoy herself and be truly happy. The agent shakes the young man's hand and confirms the rent of 15,000 a month. In the new apartment, the mother cooks happily, and he realizes it's been a long time since he's seen her smile like that. Sitting on the bed, he thinks that he has solved the housing situation and even got a new profession. But he knows his father is still in jail and he can't let his guard down just yet. Bai needs to resolve this situation before he can pursue his revenge without worries. He then uses a magic stone that increases his elemental power and also his spirit. With a determined look, he thinks it's time to go after a certain something. Elsewhere, we see two Awakened training in a room with a blue energy. One of the men comments that the young master's performance has improved a lot. A girl then approaches and offers her brother a drink so he can rest. But he ignores her and says he's going to the next labyrinth to train more. With a red aura, he levels up and vows to show who the real genius is. Elsewhere, a woman with a long braid watches the city from a window, lost in thought. Reading a list, she notes that there are no golden professions among this year's new Awakened. She then concludes that the combat simulation test won't be very interesting. The next morning in the rented apartment, a lavish breakfast is on the table. Our hero's mother is sitting with a calm and happy smile on her face. The young man then runs to the table and asks why she didn't wake him up earlier. She replies that he was sleeping so soundly she didn't have the heart to disturb him. Gently stroking his head, she tells him to eat slowly and that it's okay to be late. He thinks it's been a long time since he slept peacefully and had breakfast with her. Suddenly, his mother pulls him by the shirt collar, leaving him completely surprised. Confused, the young man asks what happened and why she is acting that way. With a gentle smile, she asks if he wants a gift like a toy or a book. The young man starts to laugh, amused by the situation, and asks the reason for the gift. The mother then points to the calendar and reveals that his birthday is coming up. He looks at the calendar and sees June 5th circled in red. Shocked, the young man realizes it's his birthday and he had forgotten. He remembers that in his past life, after his mother was gone, no one celebrated it anymore. Eating, he thinks about what he could want for a gift and what he desires most in life. Looking at his mother, he realizes he already has everything he wants most in the world. With a smile on his face, he finishes eating, thinking he already has what matters most. With his eyes shining, he thinks it's now time to complete his next objective. His plan is to finish the traitor who destroyed his team and his life in the past. Back at school, the teacher warns that the students should be well rested. He then announces that it's time to begin preparations for the combat simulation. In the gym, the teacher explains that the academy is a high school division of the Divine Guild. The battle will be a graduation assessment and will be broadcast live for everyone to see. In addition, the student with the best performance will be able to participate in the high school division's training. The students get excited to learn it's a chance to get in touch with the Divine Guild. The teacher explains that the top students will travel to the Divine Guild headquarters. Our hero gets serious hearing about the guild headquarters, as he has memories of that place. He remembers that it was there he met his master for the first time in his past life. Bai also recalls that it was the birthplace of his team's traitor. With a determined look, he realizes this is the fastest way to find his enemy. The other students are excited and nervous about the simulation on Friday. The teacher then announces the start of training, beginning with physical conditioning. One of the students gets excited and says he'll do 20 sets instead of 10. With a serious look, our hero watches the scene without getting carried away by the excitement. All the students then follow the teacher towards the school's training room. Suddenly, our hero stops and tells the teacher he doesn't want to use that training room. The other students turn around, surprised by the young man's attitude towards the teacher. The teacher recognizes him and seems surprised to see him there after the commotion. He then says he heard about his conflict with the bully and reprimands him. The young man explains that he wants to do more specialized training for his abilities. With a suspicious look, the teacher asks if he is questioning his methods. Bai explains that not everyone needs running, as there are professions that require other things. He continues, saying that everyone has different attributes and habits, and the training should reflect that. Annoyed, the teacher glares at him, feeling like he's being taught how to do his own job. The pink-haired girl, Chi-Yin, recognizes the training method as something proposed by an official. She is surprised to see that our hero had the same idea as the man from the Divine Troop. The boy with glasses tries to intervene and tells him to be more considerate of the teacher. Terrified, his friend warns him to be careful, as the teacher might get annoyed with him. To everyone's surprise, the teacher smiles and says the young man's idea is interesting. The boy with glasses is relieved to see that the teacher wasn't offended by the suggestion. The teacher admits there are many students, and it would be difficult to cater to everyone in a short time. He knows the combat simulation is crucial for the student's future and feels the weight of responsibility. Our hero thinks he was lucky to have good teachers in his past life. With a confident look, he asks the teacher to trust him and promises not to disappoint. The teacher then asks how he wants to train, and the young man points to a specific room. He points to the element room and asks the teacher to set the suppression to maximum. The teacher and the other students are confused and don't understand our hero's request. Bai makes up an excuse, saying he wants to balance his skills and challenge his weaknesses. The pink-haired girl also asks to practice elemental control with him. Chien invites him to practice together, but he refuses, saying he's going to a private room. Surprised, the girl can't believe she was rejected, and his friend is shocked by the scene. The teacher then dismisses the boy with glasses, saying he can find a place to relax. Inside the room, Bai thinks he needs to master his new mage profession as quickly as possible. He knows the school is under the jurisdiction of the gods and needs to hide his ability. With his body covered in ice, he closes his eyes and focuses on the intense training. In the other room, Chien trains with a green aura, determined not to be left behind. After school, the young man gets his bike and prepares to go home alone. Suddenly, his two friends call out for him to wait so they can go home together. He remembers that in his past life, they were his best friends at school. Those were happy times, but now his goal is revenge, and he can't get distracted. He decides to leave alone, thinking that social interactions will only slow him down. His friends are sad and wonder why he ran off alone again. One of them comments that the young man seems much more confident after awakening. The other friend feels down and wonders why a guy on a bike would wait for them. Unexpectedly, our hero appears in front of them and calls out to his friend with glasses. With a serious look, he tells his friend to get his lungs checked when he has time. Surprised, the friends realize he was waiting for them to go together. He then leaves, saying they wouldn't be able to keep up, and leaves them behind. Annoyed, his friend complains that he only couldn't catch him because he used up all his energy in training. The young man remembers that his friend was diagnosed with a lung condition and didn't survive. His friends watch him leave and comment that he has changed a lot and become colder. But the boy with glasses smiles and says that, despite everything, he's still the same person. On a paradise beach, we see a training camp for new recruits. A man relaxes in a chair and comments that a new recruit has been doing very well. Another man approaches and asks if he's the guy who broke all the records. The young man turns around and reveals he's there to report to Mr. Dongyang. During dinner, the young man warns his mother not to go out alone from now on. With a smile, the mother eats peacefully while he watches her with a serious look. Eating, he thinks he needs to provide a more stable and safe environment for his mother. In prison, the inmates eat in silence under the guard's watch. Our hero's father gets his tray with a dark and angry look on his face. With scissors, one of the guards cuts a piece of meat and puts it on his tray. The father then talks to the guard, who reassures him that everything is arranged. Back at school, the young man thinks he has familiarized himself with the mage controls. He knows the secret is the casting time and calculating the necessary elemental power. Meanwhile, his friend runs, determined to do 10 sets of exercises that day. On Wednesday, we see the young man running alone on the school's track. On Thursday, his friend trains hard to prepare for the combat simulation. In the classroom, the young man watches his friends with a calm and thoughtful look. His friends invite him to dinner, but he refuses, saying he needs to go home. They comment that their friend has become very cold and distant after awakening his powers. Our hero then gives his archer friend a tip to practice his initial movements more. The friend gets super excited with the tip and promises to train even harder to improve. At the school infirmary, the doctor tells the boy with glasses it was a good thing he came in early. The doctor explains that the tumor in his lung could develop very quickly if not treated. He warns that the boy needs to schedule surgery at a large hospital as soon as possible. The young man remembers his friend's warning and is shocked to learn the severity of his condition. Looking at the X-ray, he wonders how his friend knew about the problem in his lungs. Going down the stairs, he is thoughtful and worried about his friend's sudden change. Suddenly, he hears some students commenting that the bully Hong is cheating again. They say the bully has a private labyrinth to train his family's private army. The boy with glasses overhears the conversation and pays attention to the information about the bully. He then discovers that Hong is planning to get revenge on Bai Yi after school. Shocked, the friend realizes the bully is armed and intends to do something serious. He regrets having provoked the bully and feels guilty about the situation. Desperate, he runs to try and find his friend and warn him of the danger that awaits. He knows that outside of school, Hong can use dirty tricks and even call for backup. He hesitates for a moment, wondering what use he would be in helping his friend. But he remembers that his friend saved his life and decides he needs to return the favor. Arriving at the armory, he sees the door is locked and prepares to break it down. With a determined smile, he says that avoiding trouble is his principle, but now it's different. He then prepares to break the chain and padlock that lock the armory door. With a single blow, he manages to break the padlock and open the door easily. With all his strength, he opens the armory doors, determined to equip himself. With a furious look, he vows to save his friend, even if it costs him his life. Inside the room, he grabs a large axe, preparing for the battle ahead. With the weapon in hand, he is ready to face any danger to help his friend. Suddenly, someone interrupts him and asks why he is trying to break into the armory. He turns around and sees the pink-haired girl, Chi-In, staring at him with a confused expression. She watches him curiously and asks what is happening and why he is in a hurry. Desperate, the young man says he needs to go save his friend Bai Yi from danger. Chi-In is silent for a moment, seeming not to understand the situation. Meanwhile, our hero walks down an alley with his bicycle beside him. He stops and tells whoever is following him to come out and reveal their intentions. A mysterious figure then steps on the ground and reveals itself in the dark alley. The bully Hong appears with a red aura and says he's there to settle the score. With a confident look, our hero asks if he thinks he can beat him now. The bully accelerates and charges with a powerful blow, trying to hit our hero. With a confident smile, he says he hasn't been training all this time for nothing. Hong uses a teleportation ability to appear behind the young man and attack him. But Bai Yi doesn't even flinch, activating an ability that makes him semi-pixelated and blocks the blow. The bully is shocked to see his attack blocked so easily. He can't believe the young man's attack power is greater than his. With a cold look, our hero asks if he thought he was the only one who got stronger. He then counterattacks with his blades, leaving the bully no chance to defend. Hong is speechless, realizing he's been outmatched once again. He remembers the first fight and how he underestimated our hero's power. Now, he feels that the young man in front of him is someone he will never be able to surpass. With a golden aura, our hero appears imposing and much more powerful than the bully. Hong yells, asking how he managed to level up so quickly. He can't accept that he was surpassed by someone he considered weaker. Our hero just stares at him in silence, not caring about the bully's desperation. With a mocking smile, he asks if the bully knows what hard work is. Bai Yi then knocks Hong to the ground with a single blow, completely defeating him. With a dark look, he asks the bully if he has ever experienced the feeling of being taken out. Lying on the ground, Hong dares him to do whatever he wants with him, without fear. The young man admits that Hong underestimated him, but that he doesn't hate him that much. Bai realizes the bully just wanted to test his own strength against him. Annoyed, Hong challenges him to a serious fight, but our hero ignores him. Suddenly, his friends arrive with an axe, ready to help in the fight. But they realize the situation is already under control and they don't need to do anything. Our hero then says he was waiting for Hong to make him a proposal. He offers a way for the bully to get stronger, leaving him completely surprised. With a serious look, he says that in return, Hong will have to give him something of value. On Friday, the week of training ends, and the students gather for the assessment. The teacher announces that the combat simulation is about to begin in the gym. He warns that, although it's a simulation, they will be entering a real labyrinth. The labyrinth is full of beasts and dangers, even with most of its powers sealed. To ensure safety, the teacher says that high school seniors will guide them. Teams will be formed of 4 to 5 people, with a senior leading the group. They can choose between F-class or E-class instances, depending on their strength. The F-class labyrinth is the easiest, but the E-class one is much harder. Failing the challenge could result in losing academic credits and lower grades. The students prepare for the labyrinth level selection and team formation. The teacher then asks those who chose the E-class labyrinth to raise their hands. The pink-haired girl Chi-yin raises her hand confidently, choosing the harder challenge. The bully Hong also raises his hand with a determined look, ready for the challenge. The crowd is stunned by their courage in challenging the E-class. The teacher announces that 8 out of 180 students chose the hardest labyrinth. He then announces that the rest of the class will be randomly divided into the F-class labyrinth. But Bai interrupts him and says he wants to challenge the D-class labyrinth. The teacher is flabbergasted, completely speechless at the young man's request. All the students turn to look at him, surprised by his audacity and confidence. Even the bully Hong is stunned to see that he wants to jump straight to D rank. The other students can't believe someone wants to go straight to such a high rank. With a determined look, our hero stands by his decision to face the challenge. Just then, the principal appears and says that a D-rank demon dungeon is too dangerous for him. The other students agree and say the school manual prohibits D-rank challenges. The principal explains that the school's mission is to recruit talent and the standards are high. Bai faces the principal and asks if he's going to steal his chance to prove himself. The principal says that the dungeons require team entry, but our hero says he'll go alone. He states that the rules are to protect the students, and solo entry is forbidden. Suddenly, the pink-haired girl Chi-yin raises her hand and says she'll also choose D rank. Everyone is shocked to see that the class president also wants to face the challenge. The principal is furious and says he can't risk her safety at all. Annoyed, the principal can't believe the stubbornness of the 2 most promising students. Chi-yin winks at our hero, showing she's on his side in this decision. Bai, however, refuses the girl's help and says he'll clear the dungeon alone, leaving the young woman in shock. The teacher then puts his hand on both their heads and says his refusal doesn't count for anything. The principal and the teacher are annoyed with the students' attitude, who have barely awakened and already think they're all that. The teacher then decides that the D rank run will be with just the 2 of them, as no senior would go with them. Unexpectedly, one of the seniors raises his hand and offers to go with the 2 on the mission. With a confident smile, the senior says that the nation's flowers need someone to protect them. The teacher is more at ease seeing that Senior Xiling will accompany the 2 students. Chi-yin is surprised and comments that Senior Xiling almost made it into the Supreme School Troop. The senior then approaches our hero with a superior look and mentions the school troop. With a serious look, the young man says he has never heard of such a troop, leaving the senior embarrassed. Xiling then thinks that the young man is just a peacock who doesn't know his own limits. The teacher then creates a portal and announces that the teams are ready to begin the test. He explains that inside the dungeons, there will be drones to record their entire test. The teacher then encourages the students to do their best to see who can get the highest score. Our hero just watches the scene with a serious and determined look for the challenge. The Awakened Academy was built on top of a large conquered demon dungeon. The middle and high school divisions are there to participate in the grand event. Several groups of students prepare to enter portals of different levels and colors. The large demon dungeon has given rise to several smaller dungeons perfect for the tests. The friend with glasses is terrified as he's pulled into one of the blue portals. The archer friend also enters the purple portal, ready for the start of the simulated combat. The entire exercise will be broadcast live, and all actions will be recorded by drones. Our hero knows he needs to be careful not to reveal all his cards up his sleeve. Inside the dungeon, he realizes the place has exactly what he needs for his plans. Senior Xiling tells him not to worry, as he will protect them throughout the entire course. Chi-yin asks about the strength of the monsters, and the senior explains the levels. With a confident smile, he warns him not to underestimate the E-rank monsters. The girl agrees and understands that their power and speed can be surprising. Our hero ignores the conversation and moves forward, leaving the others behind. Xiling is confused and doesn't understand why the young man is acting that way. He tries to get our hero's attention, saying he might scare the monsters. With a cold look, the young man says the senior talks too much and leaves him speechless. He then tells Xiling to stay quiet behind him, as he doesn't need his help. The senior and Chi-Yin are shocked and speechless at our hero's attitude. The live broadcast of the simulated combat begins, showing the students in action. Several students gather in front of a large screen to watch the competition. In a dark room, some important people also watch the broadcast of the event. The sign on the door indicates that this is the Supreme Campus of the Awakened Academy. The vice captain of the Supreme Campus calls his captain's attention to the broadcast. With a smile, he says that one of the freshmen chose a D-ranked dungeon for the test. A mysterious woman at the Supreme Campus asks about the class of the freshman who caught her attention. The vice captain laughs and says the funniest part is that he's just a green warrior. Terrified, the boy with glasses tries to defend himself from the monsters with a tambourine in his hand. Inside the F-class labyrinth, his team fights against fire bats and other creatures. The team's senior tells him not to be nervous and to focus on providing support. The F-class fire bats and violent cats attack the team without mercy. The dungeon also has E-rank stellar weasels and other dangerous creatures. Inside the E-class labyrinth, a student heals his injured comrades during the battle. The bully Hong fights fiercely against the monsters in the E-class dungeon. With his ferocity skill, he increases his strength and easily defeats the creatures. Our hero prepares for battle in the D-class labyrinth with his sword in hand. Inside the sealed D-class labyrinth, the team prepares to face the monsters. With a single blow, he defeats an E-rank creature and gains 30 experience points. He continues to defeat several monsters in the dungeon with impressive ease. The senior and the girl are shocked to see how quickly he defeats the creatures. Suddenly, two giant spiders with red eyes appear to attack the team. Baiya explains that the monsters here are sealed and can only use half of their strength. Chi-Yin is impressed to see him face several enemies at once. He advises her not to compare herself to others and to focus on herself to improve. With a smile, he tells her to just focus on being herself and move forward. With a smile, the girl thanks him for the advice and says she'll do her best in the battle. Senior Xiling, however, is annoyed that our hero has stolen all the attention. He then warns them not to get cocky, as this is a D-class dungeon. Xiling says the labyrinth has 3 chambers and tells the girl to take care of the monsters on the right. He then says he'll take care of the left, completely ignoring our hero who moves forward. We see the labyrinth with several monster bodies scattered around and a red seal glowing in the background. Furious, the senior can't believe the young man is ignoring him again, without any respect. Our hero then tells Chi-Yin to take care of the monsters on the right, as they are weaker. He explains that the combat simulation is a test of individual skill for each of them. With a serious look, the young man asks the girl if she doesn't want to get a good score. Determined, the young woman says she understands and can handle the job alone in the battle. The team then splits up, and each goes to a different side of the labyrinth for the test. Annoyed, the senior watches the scene with a furious look and can't contain his anger. He then creates a bow of light and prepares to attack, saying they chose the hard way. The teachers watch the cameras and comment that the young man has defeated several E-rank monsters. One of them asks what the young man's level is, and the other says he is E-rank 1. Furthermore, he chose the monsters on the left and left the ones on the right for the girl. The teacher realizes he observed the monster's elemental weakness and made a good strategy. With a smile, the teacher admits that the young man wasn't bluffing and has great potential. Our hero watches the battle from a distance and knows the monsters on the right are weaker. The pink-haired girl Chi-Yin fights bravely and defeats the monsters with her plant magic. Suddenly, a giant creature with purple eyes appears and attacks her ferociously. She uses her Vine Wall ability to trap the creature and defend against the attack. With a determined look, the girl prepares to continue the fight against the monster. The vines tighten around the creature and poison it with their sharp thorns. Chi-Yin manages to defeat the creature and gains 30 experience points with the victory. With a victorious smile, she celebrates having defeated the monster on her own. Our hero watches from a distance and thinks that mages already have basic skills at E rank. He explains that her ability is to create a wall of poisonous plants to attack. The young man is impressed by her calmness and talent in her first time in a dungeon. He knows the D-rank monsters are sealed and won't be a problem for them. As the girl fights, he realizes she can handle the monsters on that side. Bai thinks that this way he can hide his true strength and still get a good score. He knows the drones are recording everything and needs to think about his next move carefully. Annoyed, Senior Xiling thinks the two of them are being too confident and patient. He decides that since they can handle themselves, he will test their limits. A giant arrow of light forms in his hands, ready to be fired at them. With a wicked smile, Xiling tells them to experience the power of his special attack. The arrow of light hits the ground near the girl, causing a large explosion and frightening her. The explosion opens a hole in the ground, revealing a passage to a deeper area of the dungeon. Chi-Yin asks why he attacked her, and he pretends he was trying to provide support. Suddenly, the silhouette of a giant creature appears in the darkness of the newly opened hole. A sword of fire emerges from the darkness and rushes at high speed towards the girl. A level 11 D Class 2-headed lion appears and attacks her ferociously. Our hero quickly turns around upon realizing the imminent danger his companion is facing. The fire lion easily burns through the girl's vines and approaches her. Terrified, the girl tries to defend herself, but the creature is much stronger than her. The vines are completely destroyed by the 2-headed lion's flames. The lion roars and prepares for the final attack against the girl who is cornered. With a face full of fear, she realizes she is in trouble and doesn't know what to do. With a wicked smile, the senior watches the scene, preparing to intervene at the last second. A screen explains the swiftness ability that increases speed by 50%. Our hero then charges forward at high speed to save the girl from the lion's attack. Xiling is shocked to see the speed at which the young man moves to intercept the attack. The pink-haired girl, Chi-Yin, braces herself to be attacked by the two-headed lion. With a swift move, our hero saves her and attacks the lion with a powerful blow. The attack hits the lion's head, seriously injuring it and making it furious. He stands in front of the girl to protect her and wonders about the monster's speed. Senior Xiling laughs and reveals that the two-headed lion is a creature that always reappears. He continues, saying that no matter how arrogant they are still rookies. Furthermore, the creature was strengthened by his light arrow ability and is now stronger. The fire lion roars and its attack increases by 10% and its speed by 50%. Our hero wonders if he will have to use his full strength to defeat the creature. He tells the girl to back off, as she can't handle that monster right now. The lion leaps to attack them both with its sharp claws and teeth, without hesitation. The girl Chi-Yin then uses her vine wall ability to try and trap the creature. The vines wrap around the lion and temporarily trap it, giving them a chance. Determined, she shouts to create another layer of vines and strengthen the barrier. The vines tighten around the lion, but the creature still manages to resist. Our hero is surprised to see the girl's determination to help in the battle. She asks to fight alongside him, promising she won't get in the way. Senior Xiling is shocked to see the courage of the girl who was almost attacked by the lion. Our hero smiles and praises the girl's quick recovery after the scare. She says she trained a lot and can't be defeated in a place like this. With a smile, she says that with him around, she knows she won't get hurt in the battle. He warns her not to waste her elemental power, as she used 3 layers of vines. Bai remembers her from his past life, a confident and optimistic girl who's shown at school. She was always kind to everyone and a responsible class leader dedicated to her studies. After that, he never heard from her again, but now she is someone he can trust. With her by his side, he believes he can hide his strength and still pass the test. Senior Xiling laughs and says they won't be able to defeat the lion alone with their vines. He continues, saying that a real battle isn't won with just confidence and determination. With a wicked smile, he hopes they will ask for his help so he can teach them a lesson. The fire lion then breaks free from the vines with a powerful and furious roar. Our hero says he will lure the lion and asks the girl to attack at the right moment. He runs away and the fire lion chases him with speed and fury. Bai knows the lion will chase him because he was the one who injured it first. The young man runs towards a lake, and the lion follows without a second's hesitation. He jumps into the water and the lion follows, diving in to continue the chase. The fire lion swims quickly towards him, ready for the final attack. At the right moment, he shouts for the girl to attack with all her strength. Chi-Yin then uses her vine wall ability to trap the lion in the water. The creature is trapped by the vines, and the girl prepares for her next move. The lion roars in fury at being trapped by the vines and tries to break free with its flames. With a cry, she tightens the vines even more to hold the creature in the water. The vines poison the lion and nullify its fire powers, leaving it completely vulnerable. Our hero then takes the opportunity to attack the lion with his sword. With a confident look, he says now he can finish the test and get the highest score. Senior Xiling is shocked and can't believe they managed to trap the lion. He watches the scene from a distance and sees the creature trapped by the vines in the water. With a look of anger, he can't accept that he was outsmarted by the 2 rookies. The teachers watch the scene and comment on the young man's brilliant strategy. The teacher is impressed with his leadership and reaction skills in battle. He then concludes that the first place in the combat simulation already has an owner. The lion's body floats in the water, and the teacher says only the final blow is needed for victory. Suddenly, the broadcast is cut, and the screen goes black, leaving everyone confused. The drone that was recording the fight falls to the ground, destroyed, and stops transmitting images. Senior Xiling realizes that without the recording, our hero won't get the highest score. After defeating the lion, Chi-Yin thanks him for his help, but he says the credit is hers. She is confused to hear about elemental resistance and doesn't understand what he's talking about. Xiling approaches and tells them to leave the conversation for after the test. Annoyed, the young man says that's enough and glares at him with a serious and menacing look. He then asks if the senior knows what it means to strengthen a D-class monster. Xiling tries to defend himself, saying he was going to help, but the young man calls him incompetent. With a surprised look, the senior can't believe what he just heard. Our hero criticizes him for his terrible aim as an archer, enraging the senior. Chi-Yin agrees and says it's no wonder he wasn't selected for the school's troop. Furious, Xiling creates his bow of light and prepares to attack them both in anger. The two get into a fighting stance, ready to face the angry senior. With a look full of hatred, the senior can't accept the humiliation he has suffered. He then decides to leave, saying their path is still long and full of challenges. With a final warning, he vows revenge and tells them to wait for what's to come. He then walks away and leaves them alone in the labyrinth with the defeated monsters. The two look at the destroyed drone on the ground and realize the broadcast has been cut. Chi-Yin is annoyed with the senior's attitude while our hero analyzes the situation. He realizes that Xiling destroyed the drone to prevent them from getting a good score. With a smile, he says the senior ended up helping his plans without knowing it. The girl is confused and asks what he means by that and what he plans to do. They approach the red seal that blocks the passage to the next area of the dungeon. He then asks Chi-In to keep what's about to happen in the dungeon a secret. She is even more confused and asks what he is planning to do in that place. Bai then takes a strange object from his pocket, preparing for his next move. He explains to the bully Hung that in exchange for his help, he needs a magic stone from his uncle. With the stone in hand, he says he will use it to open the dungeon seal and move forward. He places the magic stone in a hole in the ground to break the dungeon seal. With a determined look, he prepares to face the dangers that await him. The girl tries to stop him, saying that the high-level monsters will escape. A red energy flows from the stone and begins to break the seal holding the monsters. He reassures her, saying the monster's power will be affected by the broken seal. With a glint in his eyes, he says he doesn't need help to face the monsters. A red energy surrounds his body as he prepares for battle alone. Chi-In is shocked to see the transformation and can't believe what she's seeing. She shouts and points at him, asking how he can transform into a mage. With a mage's staff in hand, he reveals himself as an E-rank cloud mage. He then tells her to stay at the exit and watch the battle that is about to begin. Several three-headed Cerberus-like creatures appear and charge to attack. The girl is terrified to see so many D-class monsters charging towards them. She tries to warn him of the danger, but he's already prepared for the confrontation with the monsters. He casts an ice spell and prepares to face the horde of creatures alone. With his new mage profession, he shows his true power to the surprised girl. He casts an ice attack that freezes the creatures and holds them in place. The girl is shocked to realize he has a red rank profession. She can't believe he managed to control 3 lions at once. Baye explains that the monsters have been trapped for a long time and will come out with a vengeance. He says he needs a larger battlefield to deal with so many monsters. The girl understands the plan and moves away to give him space to fight alone. Several fire creatures charge at high speed towards our hero. The fire monsters roar and prepare to attack with their sharp claws and teeth. One of the level 12 D-class creatures glares at him with a look full of fury. He knows the monsters are weaker because of the seal that has trapped them for so long. With a quick move, he casts an ice spell to freeze the creatures. His mage ability freezes the air and creates ice to control his opponents. Bai manages to freeze one of the creatures easily and prepares for the next attack. He then switches his class to Nuclear Warrior, showing his versatility in combat. One of the creatures tries to attack him by surprise, but he manages to defend with his sword. He notices the attempted attack and turns to face the creature with a serious look. The fire creature prepares to attack as a red figure appears in the sky. He then switches classes again to Cloud Mage, ready for the counter-attack. The frozen creature tries to break free, but the ice is too strong to be broken. Chi-In is shocked to see that he can switch professions so easily. She then understands why he wanted to train in the element room with the suppression at maximum. The girl realizes that the essence of the mage profession is to control natural energy. She used to think that the stronger the magic, the more powerful it would be, but now she understands control. Elemental power comes from nature and is very difficult to tame and control. She understands that only by controlling her elemental power can she use more moves. With this realization, she can use her basic skills in more creative ways. Her eyes shine as she sees how skilled and versatile our hero is in combat. She's impressed by how he has already completely mastered his powers and abilities. The girl realizes he has already left all the other students behind with his talent. With a sad look, she feels a bit discouraged when comparing herself to him. But then, a smile appears on her face and she finds him very cool and inspiring. Suddenly, the ground shakes and a giant paw stomps on the ground with tremendous force. A giant level 15 D-class mammoth appears with a red aura of fury. With a determined look, our hero says that the dungeon boss has finally appeared. The mammoth charges to attack, but he easily traps it with a wall of ice. He then switches to his warrior class and says that what he wants is with the monster. The mammoth charges furiously, and he prepares for combat with his sword in hand. With a critical hit, he strikes the mammoth's vital point, seriously injuring it. The attack leaves it vulnerable, and he prepares for the next move with his sword. He continues to attack the mammoth with quick and precise blows, leaving it no room to react. Bai knows that the sealed mammoth is weaker than the level 10 monkey he faced. With his sword, he cuts the mammoth's tusks and attacks it with another powerful blow. The mammoth roars in pain and fury as it's injured and tries to counter-attack with its feet. With a final blow, he defeats the mammoth and watches it fall to the ground, completely lifeless. With several critical hits, he manages to defeat the mammoth with a series of attacks. Notifications of critical hits appear, showing the massive damage he caused. The mammoth roars in pain one last time before falling to the ground, completely defeated. With his eyes glowing gold, he prepares to finish the battle against the monsters. A fairy aura envelopes him as he activates his special ability for the final blow. Bai then uses his sanctuary ability to defeat all the remaining monsters at once. The mammoth tries one last attack, but is caught in the energy explosion and is defeated. A notification confirms the death of the level 12 creature and a gain of 110 experience. Several notifications appear, showing the experience gained from defeating all the monsters. With the mammoth's defeat, he gains 1,000 experience points and completes the dungeon. He then gets 10 mammoth bones and a rare material for creating nuclear weapons. With a quick move, he throws away the rare material he got from the battle. From the mammoth's body, a strange yin-yang shaped item appears on the ground. He finally gets what he wanted so badly, the jade stone with special functions.